we know that there are lots of questions being asked, even as we go through the summer and prepare for the fall semester. So what we've done is this is going to be a two-part process. First part is we're going to play about a 15-minute video that will highlight a lot of the frequently asked questions. And then we'll transition to answering the live questions. So we'll ask that during these 15 minutes, as you watch the video and any questions come to mind, please type them in the chat box and we'll get to them as soon as the video is done. So thanks again for joining us. We will go to the videos now.
Hi, I'm Marnie Story. I'm part of the academic advising team here at TRU. There are 3 academic advisors that are dedicated to international students, and we are here to help you when you need us. Today I have some questions that have been posed by students regarding the fall semester about course planning and registration, so I'm going to read out the question and do my best to answer for you. Here goes. How do I plan my fall semester courses and who can help me? So your advisors are here to help you with your course planning and to help you understand your program requirements. We can also give you options, program options, and connect you with other resources if need be. We're going to put up a link on the chat that shows the list of different advisors, advising groups, and how you can connect with them. So you need to know, first of all, who your advisor is. Academic advisors, that's us. We have the privilege of helping students who are taking courses in their first and second year of their program. And these are open programs that we advise for. So arts, business, computing science, science, ESL, UPrep, as well as students who are planning to apply for a competitive program or a program with limited seats. There are also program advisors. Program advisors help students in open programs who are taking their upper level, 3rd and 4th year courses. And then there's also program advisors for specific programs such as social work, tourism, graduate level programs, natural resource science. So know who your advisor is, first of all. Another good source of information for you to help you understand your program requirements are your program planning forms. And on the academic website, we're going to put up a link. There's a list of program planning forms, so you can find your program and then look at the program requirements and the outline of courses. Gives you a really good idea of what your program will look like, so that in combination with your advisor, we will help you with your course planning. So next question. How do I register for courses? So international students who have completed a minimum of 12 academic credits can register themselves through My TRU. So you're going to log into My TRU account and you can register for courses. You can also add and drop courses there. So if you want to make a change to your timetable, that's where you're going to do it. If you've completed less than 12 academic credits, then you still need to use international admissions to get you registered, but you're going to create your own timetable through My TRU and email it to international admissions, ireg@tru.ca. Before you can register, you need to pay your full fall tuition deposit. Once you pay your fall tuition deposit, you can and should register for fall and winter courses at the same time. If for some reason you're having issues registering, it's a good idea to look at the registration webpage. It's got a list of common registration errors, so have a look at that first. If you've paid your fall deposit, you've completed more than 12 academic credits, you've looked at the common issues with registration and you still can't register, then certainly reach out to advising or international admissions and we can assist you. We can help problem solve that. Next question. Who does my timetabling? So students are responsible for creating your own timetable. We know that you have preferences as to when you want to take your courses and maybe even what days or instructors. So you can find all that in your MyTRU under the registration tab. It's always better for you to create your own timetable. And actually, we're going to put up a link that shows you step by step. There's a video on how to create your own timetable. Have a look at it and have a try. I'm sure you'll find success there. So next and final question is, if I have completed courses at another post-secondary institution and I want to apply for transfer credit, what do I do? So if you've completed courses at another college or university, you need to apply for transfer credit by submitting your official transcript and detailed course outlines, or called course syllabi. Make sure that your course syllabi detailed outlines match your transcript. The transfer credit assessment process can and likely will take several months. So in order to make it happen as smoothly as possible, make sure you submit your documents as soon as you can, and also let your advisor know that you have completed courses elsewhere and that you've applied for transfer credit. Your advisors will help you pick courses and find courses you can take while that transfer credit process is in progress. So again, we're your advisors. We're here to help. We want nothing more than to see you succeed. So be engaged, be committed to your education, and reach out to us. Although most of the courses are online this fall, we are still here working full-time to help you. We're answering inquiries by email, and we also have phone appointments. So we're here to help. Have a great semester. Thanks.
Will any facilities on TRU campus open, such as the library, print shop? Library is supporting students and faculty online. If you need assistance, please email library@tru.ca. For updates and details, please visit TRU Libraries. Print services is open. If you need a file printed or document copied, you can email them at printshop@tru.ca with your files in PDF format so that they can avoid handling physical materials in the office. They can only accepting debit and credit cards for payment. If TRU campus is fully open in the middle of fall semester, will course delivery method change? TRU is making plans to gradually open up the campus, but courses will be mostly online. That means many of you won't be coming to campus for face-to-face classes. If by any chance the institution is fully open in the middle of the fall semester, course delivery method will stay the same until the end of the semester. Will TRU fully open in winter 2021? We may be able to welcome all of you back to campus for the winter term in January 2021, and we'll be closely observing guidelines so that we can let you know what to expect. In the meantime, we are offering courses and accepting applications. We also prepared COVID-19 related updates. Please visit www.tru.ca/covid-19/student.
Hello everyone, I hope all is well and enjoying the summer so far. I'm getting lots of questions about BCMSP. The first questions I'm getting, BCMSP expired with the study permit. If your temporary permits or the study permit have expired and you no longer have MSP coverage, you may be provided temporary MSP coverage if you're currently living in BC, you have previously enrolled in MSP, and your MSP has expired. Contact Health Insurance BC to request this temporary coverage. This temporary coverage will be valid until July 31st, 2020. Please call Health Insurance BC, and their toll-free number is 1-800-663-7100. Thank you. Second questions I am getting lots is, I'm going home, can I cancel my BC MSP? Residents who will be absent from BC for 6 months or more in a calendar year need to contact Health Insurance BC to confirm continued eligibility and discuss option for continued MSP coverage that may be available during an absence. So again, you need to call Health Insurance BC, and their toll-free number is 1-800-663-7100. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Jitendra Sharma and I am one of the International Student Advisor at Thompson Rivers University. Today I'm going to answer a few of the frequently asked questions in the RISIA inbox. First question. Can I travel back to my home country and study online? Will it have any impact on my post-graduation work permit? In case your semester is going to be completely virtual during fall 2020, you can study it from anywhere, including your home country. It will not have any adverse or negative impact on your post-graduation work permit. The only thing that we would like you to keep in mind is that you must have a valid study permit at all times. In case your study permit is going to expire in few months, we would recommend that you should renew it before you leave Canada so that there is no interruption in your studies. Next question. In case winter semester is going to be online, can I apply for my work permit from my home country? At this point of time, we cannot confirm whether the winter semester is going to be virtual or face-to-face. Also, the IRCC guidelines that are currently in place is only effective until the end of this year. We would be able to provide you more information once further updates are available in the coming months. Next question. When can I travel back to Canada? If you are a current international student or if your study permit was approved on or before March 18, 2020, you are exempted from the current travel restrictions that are implemented in Canada, but these restrictions can change at any point of time. So we would recommend that you should refer to canada.ca for the most recent information and email us before you make any travel arrangements. And the last question. I've submitted my study permit extension application a couple of months back and it is still under showing processing because I was unable to give my biometrics. In response to this question, IRCC has made an announcement last week that if you are submitting a temporary visa application including study permit extension from inside Canada, you are exempted from giving biometrics. So we are hoping that with this announcement, IRCC will be able to finalize the pending application very soon. Thank you very much. For more questions, please continue to email us or reach out to your ISA.
How to find us? Well, if you're on campus right now, feel free to drop by Old Main 1712, but no one on this call is. So for now, you can find us by emailing careereducation@tru.ca. Please make an appointment in Career Connections. Schedule an appointment. Once again, I encourage you to take one of our September workshops first. If you're in a program that you should be applying for co-op right away, please email the careereducation@tru.ca for an application. Follow us on Facebook, or at least follow us in Career Connections. You'll see where it says HTTPS TRU-CSN Simplicity. That's the brand name of Career Connections.
Thank you, colleagues, for answering those very frequently asked questions. Students, I hope that you were able to get a little bit of information there. So we'll now proceed to the questions that you've asked in the chat box, and we have a few now. So the first one, which is going to go to the international admissions team. Will tuition be adjusted according to the alternative delivery models?
I can answer the question. At this point, the university has decided that there will be no changes at this point to tuition. There might be a couple of fees that will be adjusted depending if you're in Canada or not. For example, extended health and medical, if you're not in Canada, will be something you'll be able to opt out of, as well as the UPass, which is a BC Transit bus pass. If you're not in British Columbia, you will be able to opt out of those ones. But as far as tuition itself, the fee does not change at this time.
Thank you, Lucas. Next question is coming to you as well, Lucas. Is there a deadline for paying tuition, or can I pay just before starting the semester? That's the first part of the question.
Sure. So if you're a new student and you're wanting to pay, how we work is that in order to be fully admitted, you have to pay your full deposit. So if you choose to pay later, then you'll be admitted later. The advantage or disadvantage in doing so is, number one, if you decide to pay later closer to the start of the program, there may not be the same course options available or seating capacity available. So if you would like to pay later and get admitted, then that does pose some challenges, as well as it leaves no time for you to apply for a study permit. That being said, this year, unlike most years, we have developed, or we are developing, a waiver which allows you to sign the waiver to indicate that you're happy to register and take courses this fall without necessarily having your study permit in place. So this year, unlike most years, you technically can pay for your fall deposit semester later and be admitted as long as we have a completion of this form indicating that you won't be having a study permit and you're fine with proceeding. But normally, no. Normally your deposit would be due a while back and you'd be admitted earlier, enough time for you to apply for your study permit.
Perfect. Thank you very much for that, Lucas. So there's a second part to this question, and I will direct that to our immigration advising team. What happens if for some reason I cannot continue this semester? And how will that affect my postgraduate work permit eligibility?
So I can answer that question. As an international student, one of the requirement is that you must maintain a full-time status throughout your semester. So except for the scheduled break in your program, fall and winter are the two regular semester in any of the programs. So if you plan to take fall semester off, then there's a possibility that you might not get your postgraduate work permit.
Thank you, Jitender. Another question for the admissions team or the advising teams. How do I know if my courses are going to be delivered online or in person?
I can speak to our School of Business and Economics. For all our post-bac classes, or should I say your business classes, there are going to be delivered through remote delivery. So it's gonna be either synchronized or asynchronized delivery format. Synchronized meaning that there will be some set time that you are expected to log into either your Moodle or some other formats and attend the lecture. Asynchronized is going to be, there's no set schedule. So you can log into your account and go through the materials. And yes, so again, the difference is either there's a set time or no set time, and there could be a combination of both too. So for example, if you had a lecture twice a week, maybe one of them is going to be set time for lecture or online discussion, or maybe quizzes or tests, other format of live discussions too. So I hope that answers our school business and economics classes. For other faculties, maybe international admissions have some information. I'm gonna pass that support to other advising team, maybe.
I can answer a question about how you will know if your classes are on campus or through virtual delivery. So that is a very important question, and you should be able to look up the schedule on the TRU website, and you can either do this through your MyTRU account, or you can go to the general TRU website, and in the quick links, which is the little magnifying glass at the top right hand corner, if you click on that, you will get a drop down menu, and you will go to the second column that has campus map, course schedule. And if you click on course schedule, you will see some important information about COVID and what is happening during the fall semester. And if you scroll down, you will see view the campus course schedule. So you click on there and you get to another page that will ask you which semester you are interested in looking up. So you can click on fall 2020, September to December, continue, and then it will ask you which campus you are inquiring about. You will put Kamloops, and then it will ask you which subject you are interested in looking up. So we will say, just for example, English. And then if you don't put a course number, you can just do a search and it will give you all the English courses that are offered in the fall semester. If you put a course number, then you can look up just that one course number. So I'm just going to do just a general search of English. And in the schedule, when you go to the times and dates, it will tell you if it's virtual delivery. So the great majority of the courses will be virtual delivery, which basically means through distance, online. And it is a good idea, as Rian mentioned, to be available at that time, because although it will be virtual, you don't know if you will need to be available at that time on that day in case the instructor wants you to log in for a lecture or presentation. So don't think that because it says Tuesday at 8:30 that you can still be sleeping. You should be available, and you will get more information from your instructor depending on that class. So the instructor may want to do something different, one class to a different class, so you will have to see what the instructors want to do in the classes that you are taking. So on the schedule, where it says dates, times, it will also tell you if there is no building and no room listed, it means it is virtual delivery. Okay, I hope that is clear.
Perfect. Thank you very much for that, Lovina and Lucas. Follow-up question that can be answered by either team. The online classes will be delivered at the same time that appears in the course registration form.
Is that for me?
Can be answered by either team. Advising.
So the answer is yes and no. So as Lolina mentioned, and Rianne also mentioned, that the scheduled time is the scheduled time. True, that is correct. However, it depends on the faculty and whether or not they're going to do the entire session synchronously, which is exactly the schedule that's laid out, or asynchronously, or a combination of both synchronous and asynchronous. So asynchronous would mean that, for example, they've done a video, for example, which you could watch at a different time. It doesn't have to be at the set schedule time. Polysynchronous would be a combination of methods. So part of it being live, for example, if the class was scheduled from 1 to 3, maybe from 1 to 2, it'll be a live session, but then the second hour will be something you can do flexible time. So, but you should assume that the time laid out is the time that you would have to be joining live. So if your time zone is significantly different than where we are in British Columbia, try to choose a time zone that works well for you to be awake. Don't choose one that would put you having to wake up at 2 o'clock in the morning to join the class. So the answer is yes and no, but I would assume you should take the best practice of assuming that the class will be live, which means you have to attend the schedule that's laid out.
Great. Thank you, Lucas. Next is an immigration-related question. Fall 2019 is my final semester and I'm taking my last 3 courses. Can I work full-time off campus during my last semester? So Jitender or Kamal.
Okay, so I can answer that question. IRCC has recently made an announcement where they allow students to work full-time until August 31st, 2020, if you're working as an essential worker. But that arrangement has only been made until August 31st, 2020. Fall is going to be regular semester, so in the fall you can only work 20 hours off campus, and you will not be able to work full-time unless there is a further announcement by IRCC.
Perfect, thank you. Next question. I was told by an ISA that TRU will not give letters for students and it cannot enter Canadian border because of it. So, are we allowed to come to Canada? And will TRU issue any letters of support?
Okay, so I believe that you are a current student and that you want to come to Canada and that right now you are in your home country. That's what I believe. So recently they had a positive announcement by IRCC that if you have been established in Canada and that you have been continuously studying in Canada, then you would be able to enter Canada. But please note that the final decision to enter Canada will always be at the discretion of the border official. But yes, we would be able to provide you a letter of support that you have been a continuous student at TRU and that it would be beneficial if you come to Canada. So please reach out to us and we would be able to provide you that letter. But please note that TRU does not decide whether you would be able to enter Canada or not. It is the decision of the border official who will be making the final decision.
Thanks for that, Jitender. Next question is going back to the admissions office, admissions team. Will there be any kind of support in paying tuition? Whether that is payment plans or tuition discounts?
So I'll answer the question, but actually backing up, if I can, to the previous question, the question was also about whether or not we'll issue a letter. And I wanted to say that we are going to be reaching out to students that we know have to be in a face-to-face program. We will be providing a letter for students who are in a face-to-face program that will help them to, in fact, cross the border or enter into Canada. If you're in a face-to-face program, we will be reaching out and providing you with that kind of letter. To answer your question about tuition, it's not really an admissions question, but it sort of is, I guess. Is this, if it's a current student question, the answer is yes and no. So we were given special permission to adjust the deposit to get registered for fall. So for current students, we were able to reduce the deposit by 50%. However, the balance of your deposit is still due in August. And then any other fees you owe beyond that, it's up to you to pay. So as long as you've paid the minimum deposit to get registered and remain registered, then you'll stay registered through the whole fall semester, even if you do have a balance owing. So the answer is yes and no. One, we were able to get a 50% deposit approved. So if you've done that, you can get registered. The remaining 50% is due before August 15th. And any other fees beyond the deposit, you don't have to pay. It's upfront because there is what is called a fees and penalties system. But it will, regardless if you owe extra fees beyond that point, you will still remain registered. But there's no concession as far as a lower tuition or payment plans. TRU doesn't do payment plans. But if you choose to have a balance owing, the fees and penalties act as a payment plan in a sense.
Perfect. Thank you. So I'm seeing we have quite a few students who are typing in very specific course registration related questions and transfer credits. Those cannot be addressed in this forum. This is a forum to address general questions. So we'll provide an email address. Looks like it's all business students. So we'll share the email address for the School of Business advising team, and you can reach out to them personally. I don't think it's fair that we discuss personal matters in a general forum. So we will be sharing that email in a little while here. Lucas, I think this question is for you as well. Why are we still being charged for all the university's facilities which are closed and not in use?
Yeah, it's a good question. I don't have the details for that, and I'm not able to change those fees. I have advocated to the university that they consider making an adjustment to some of those additional general fees, but the response is that regardless of whether you're doing face-to-face or here in person, a lot of these operational fees still exist, and so that's why the institution will still collect fees. But I know that they are looking at whether or not there is some exceptions that can be made. However, the main response would be that regardless if we're here or not here, the buildings still have to be maintained, the properties we still pay for, and so on and so forth. And I think that is the main reason why the institution is not able to change the fees at this time.
Perfect. Thank you, Lucas. Next question for the Migration Advising team. Kamal, I'll give you this one. Do you know if we're going to be able to work more than 20 hours per week next semester?
So I think just as Jitinder said, at this point, there is no authorization to work more than 20 hours beyond August at this point. So once that update comes, we will know a little bit better and we'll be able to pass that information to students. But at this point, it is only 20 hours and you're expected to maintain full-time in your classes, full-time status in your classes.
Perfect. Thank you. The next question is, student is asking if there's a way to schedule a phone call with one of the business academic advisors. How can a student schedule a phone call with your team? Rianne, maybe you want to take this one?
Sure. Yes, I can do that. So we do have some appointment method set up either by phone call, or we also have a virtual video appointment system currently set up too. However, most of the time we do find questions can be answered through emails. But if you do find emails response is ineffective, definitely reach out to us. Make sure in your email, list your student number, your contact information, so your email address and also your telephone number, your preferred appointment time, and also what is your questions regarding to what your appointment is about, so we can at least prepare for the meeting a little bit ahead of time. I hope that answers the question.
Yes, I think you answered that very well. Thank you. Next question, going back to Lucas. Lots of questions for Lucas today. Is there any information about how courses will be delivered in the winter 2021 semester yet?
Well, as we mentioned at the beginning of the presentation, at this time, we don't have a confirmation one way or the other. The institution has not made a final decision. I believe there's a very strong possibility that we will be delivering virtually, but at this point, no final decision has been made.
Great, thank you. Going back to immigration advising, if we study full-time this summer, can we work full-time?
Again, it depends which program you're in, what semester are you in. So if you're an undergraduate level student, then, and as long as you've studied full-time on campus in winter and you're gonna come back in fall, I mean, on campus in a sense that you've registered in those courses because of COVID situation has changed. But if you're an undergraduate level student, then yes, summer is considered a break. Now, undergraduate level is bachelor's and all post-bac diplomas. If you're a master's level student, summer is not a break for you. You're expected to maintain full-time status throughout your all semesters of your study. So I hope this answers. That's all. And if you need specific advice for your own case, again, you will have to contact us because we can't really answer those questions here, but this sort of gives you the gist of it.
Perfect. Thank you. So this is another question for, we'll give this one to Jitender. I applied for my study permit extension in April, but haven't been able to provide my biometrics. I was given 90 days, which ends this month. How should I proceed?
So recently, IRCC has made an announcement that if you are applying for any kind of temporary visa, including study permit extension from inside Canada, you're exempted from giving biometrics. So with this announcement, we're hoping that they would be able to finalize your application soon. And if you have paid any fees for biometric, they will also be refunding that fee.
Perfect. Thank you. I will direct this one to the School of Business. This is a career-related question. They're asking about what the career prospects are for a student who takes a post-bac diploma in economics.
Hi, I will answer that question. You want to answer it?
Thanks, Brianna.
Okay.
Go ahead. Yeah, that's fine.
So I have an economics background. With any education, I think what you have to remember to yourself is how you're going to utilize those education you earned at TRU or everything else, anywhere else. So not just looking at those classes you're taking at TRU, but all those skills you will learn in the program, how you can transfer those skills to the jobs you want to apply. So many students always ask us this kind of question. What I always recommend students to do is look up their dream job. Look up, say, if you want to work for Google, look up some of the positions they post on Google's website. Look at their education requirements, and also look at some of the skill sets that the companies are looking for. So for accounting companies, maybe they would say you have to earn CPA at one point, or for supply chain management, you may have to earn or join additional professional association. So all of that information is going to help you to decide what program is the best option for you and how you should, or look at outside the school too. What else you can do to enhance your resume, whether it's join co-op education program, maybe it's join some volunteer organization. So all of these yeah, sorry about the notification. So yeah, just a lot of research. Ultimately, you have to decide what is the best program for you. Don't just look at what is in demand. if you choose occupation, for example, accounting, you may have to work as an accountant for the rest of your life. Are you gonna really be happy with the decision right now? So think all of those extra factors when you're deciding a program. I hope that answers.
I can add to it a little bit. What Rianne said was great, of course, but we also, on our School of Business and Economics website, it's not listed under the postbacks, but what you can do is go to our bachelor degree, our Bachelor of Business Administration. And if you go to the major and minor options there, if you were to click on economics as a major and minor, on the right hand of our screen, we have typical career fields listed. So we have that for all the majors, which would apply to the post-bac concentration if you wanted to get a ballpark idea of what are typical fields for careers with that background.
Perfect. Thank you, Rianne and Brianna. Next question has to do with virtual labs. How will the science virtual labs be delivered in the fall semester? So Lolina, do you want to take a stab at this one, maybe?
Sure. Actually, I have a handy little information page that is on the TRU website. And I think I can just copy it onto our chat. Let me try that. Everyone. So this link that students can click into is the fall 2020 course delivery. It has a list of different science areas, and it will say either A for alternative delivery, so you don't need to be on campus, or F, face-to-face delivery. So you can look through that. So you'll see that there's only, really the only one that says face-to-face is the Master of Science in Data Science at the bottom. There's some combination of AF under second year. So if you're in second year, or if you're in first or second year of animal health technology, there is some combination. So you can look at that list and see which courses that you might be taking and whether they are going to be virtual or like alternative delivery, which is through distance, or if you need to be on campus for face-to-face.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Lolina. Rianne or Brianna, we're getting quite a few questions about transfer credit still, and a lot of them are very specific. So I was hoping maybe you just give a general outline, general information that students can refer to when it comes to transfer credits. What is the process? How do they know if their transfer credits are being processed, and if they're having issues, how do they follow up? That kind of thing. Thank you.
Okay, I will try to do my best to give a summary. So when you come to TRU, you should apply for transfer credit right away, as soon as possible, and you need to supply your official syllabus and transcript. The admissions office should already have your transcript, but make sure you bring the syllabi or course outlines for all your courses that you believe you can receive transfer credit for. So the process that we have in place in the School of Business is students need to bring their syllabus. They need to compare their syllabus to their TRU courses. And what we're looking for is an 80% overlap of content. So if you believe you have an 80% overlap of content, you can apply for those courses. You apply by emailing transfercredit@tru.ca and submit your syllabus, and you list the courses, the TRU courses that you're wanting to get assessed. Then what happens after that, they will receive your request They will process it. So what happens is our subject matter experts in the subject areas will assess your syllabus and determine if it's equivalent to a TRU course. Once that assessment is done, the audit and articulation team will place credit onto your student record. And that can come in various different ways. It can come straight across as a direct equivalent to a TRU course. It can also appear as unspecified credits, which I'm sure a lot of you may have received and might be a little confusing for you. And that is where your program advisors, myself and Rianne, and the rest of our team, we go into your file and we see if those unspecified credits can meet your program requirements. So Finance 2XX0, if that can fulfill your financial management course of Finance 2120. So the process can take quite a while. To get credit added onto your account is normally a 4 to 8 month waiting period. They have been getting better and caught up when working away on that. And they will email you once your credit is complete. And that's when you can come to us program advisors and we will apply it to your program. I hope that kind of gives a timeline of what happens in the process, but individual cases, you can email our email and we will discuss with you.
Yes, thank you very much, Brianna. That was a very detailed explanation, actually. The next question, there's a lot of repeated questions, so I'm going to ask that if you type a question once, please don't type it again. Otherwise, there's too many repetitions and we're kind of getting lost now. The next question is back to the admissions team. Lucas, when will late fee penalties be applied to student accounts if fees are not paid on time?
Technically, after the September 4th, which is the last business day before school starts, are when your fees are owed. So theoretically, after that point in time, you could have fees applied. However, normally no fees are applied until after the add drop period. So after September 22nd, if you still have fees owing, at that time, the finance office runs reports to see if students are registered and have fees owing. So it would not be until the end of September.
Thanks for that, Lucas. The next question is related to fees as well. So there's a question about accommodations. So we have students who are maybe currently not in Canada and have applied for on-campus housing and will be looking to come back to Canada for the fall. And you're wondering, at what point do you decide to cancel your bookings? So the residence is aware that there are many challenges with students being allowed to come back into Canada. But now that your course registrations are open, you should be able to see what courses will be delivered virtually and what courses have the potential to be delivered on campus. And then that should help you make a decision. The cancellation deadlines have already come and gone, but the residence is committed to being flexible during these times. We're going to ask that you submit a cancellation request no later than August 1st. And then after that, if things change, you can make another booking, but it's not fair to the residents that you hold on to a space that you will maybe want to cancel in September. That is, I think, too late. So once you get your course registration sorted out and you know where things stand, I would advise that you submit your cancellation request or your deferral request as soon as possible. Next question, I'll go back to Lolina, and then maybe if the School of Business advisors want to chime in, that'll be appreciated. What are the co-op opportunities like for undergraduate students at TRU?
So in academic advising in our department, we don't handle the co-op area of the university, there is a specific department that looks after co-op placements for students. And I will put the link to that department in our chat here so that people can contact them. One thing to keep in mind is that there are, depending on the program you are in, the co-op office will expect you to have completed a certain number of courses in that program before you are able to do a co-op, which kind of makes sense if you think about it, because they want you to know a little bit about computing science before you actually go to a co-op placement in computing science. So I'll put the link to the department there, and you can get a lot more information from looking up the site and looking at the different programs and what is expected. And you're welcome, of course, to contact them with your specific questions in your program.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Lowena. The next question is about, it's a lot of repeated questions. I apologize. I'm having to scramble through this. So the next question is, I guess, two parts. I'll direct the first part to Jitender. Is open learning an option for students that won't be returning to Canada for this semester? So from an immigration perspective, what are the impacts to students?
So as an international student, one of the requirements is that you must maintain a full-time status throughout your program. In order to maintain a full-time status, you must be enrolled into at least 2 or 3 on-campus courses depending on your program. For example, if you are taking an undergrad or post-grad program, you must be taking 3 courses on campus to maintain your full-time status, and for masters it is 2 courses per semester. If you only take courses through OL, so that would mean you do not have any status and you will be in violation of the condition of your study permit. So yeah, so taking only online courses is not an option even for students who will not be coming to Canada. They still need to take 3 on-campus courses which may be virtual.
Perfect. And the second part of that question, maybe I'll just answer this one. If you're asking about just the ability to take online courses, yes, international students are able to add online courses to their complement of courses being delivered virtually or on campus, where that is the case. So yes, I think you just have to be aware of the immigration implications, mostly for your postgraduate work permit eligibility, and in cases where you want to extend your study permit. But yes, it is possible. Next question, is open learning an option? Yeah, so this is a repeated question. So someone is asking if they'll be able to take open learning courses in the winter semester. Again, it's the same issue. You need to be aware of your requirement to be a full-time student. So that means taking either 6 or 9 credits a semester, depending on whether you're an undergraduate student or whether you are a graduate student. Substituting those courses for online courses will affect your post-graduation work permit eligibility, and it could affect your eligibility to extend your study permit as well. So, I think the best advice I'd give here is anytime you're considering taking open learning courses, please consult with your academic advisor and the immigration advising team. Okay. So I think we have exhausted all the questions. So maybe we'll just give you all a few minutes to see if there's any more questions to be answered. I'd like to thank my panelists so far. It's been, I think we've got some really good questions for students, and I hope that, one of the goals of holding these sessions is that students are well prepared to go into the fall semester. I know it was a very sudden change from on-campus to online delivery in the winter semester. And there might be some anxiety around what will happen in the fall semester. And we just want to assure you that it's been a learning process, not only for yourselves, but for faculty and staff at the university as well. And we're doing everything possible to make sure that your experience in the fall will be way better than what it might have been in the winter semester. Like I said, COVID-19 pandemic has really made us rethink how we not only how we communicate with students, but how we deliver services, and now how we deliver your education. So I think together we'll all make it through this just fine. And the bright side of this is, think about all the cool stories you'll be able to tell your kids and your friends back in the day, because it's unlikely that we will have something like this happen again for a really long time. So like they say, when life gives you lemons, you make lemonade. I think this is an opportune time to not only review how we do things, but to look for opportunities to make things better, not only for the institution, but more importantly for you, the students who are using those services. Okay, so I don't see any new questions. Okay, so we have a few questions coming in. The first one: how do I opt out of paying for the UPass? Lucas, do you want to take this one?
We don't have an exact procedure in place, but essentially you will only be able to opt out if we can confirm you're not studying in British Columbia. So if you're in your home country and you're studying, if you've confirmed where you'll be studying, we'll be able to opt out. We don't have a process established yet, because this is the first time we've ever done this. But to qualify, I guess, is that you would have to not be in British Columbia.
That's good, and maybe I'll just add that as a follow-up to that, if you know that you're not going to be in Kamloops for the fall semester, if you're going to be outside of Canada, you should let us know. Get in touch with your international student advisor so that we'll be able to make the appropriate take the appropriate steps to make sure that you're opted out of the UPass, if that is an option. I have a Master of Education student. I'm a Master of Education student, and for my exit option, I chose a thesis. That means I need to have 2 part-time semesters finally just doing my thesis. I want to ask whether it will influence my work permit eligibility upon graduation. Tender or Kamal? I'm going to take that.
Jatinder, can you answer this one, please?
I'm not very sure, because I don't know how thesis works. Is it considered, and how many credit is considered equivalent to? I'm not sure about that.
I think this is maybe this is a question that this is a very case-based question. So maybe the student can email us at rizia@tiu.ca, because this is a very case-specific question. I really don't think we should probably hold on, because we'll have to look into your record.
Perfect. I think that's acceptable. That question came from Dana. So Dana, I think the key point to take away here is that for graduate level students, you're considered to be a full-time student as long as you're enrolled in a course that is, as long as you're enrolled in 6 credits during the semester. So if you took the thesis option and you're you count as 6 credits, so it counts for 6 credits, then you are considered full-time, and it will not impact your post-graduation work permit eligibility. If it is less than 6 credits, then that's a conversation I think we should take off the side, like my colleagues mentioned, because it will be on a case-by-case basis. Okay. Will midterms and finals be online in fall 2020? Lucas?
Sure. The answer is yes and no. So again, each faculty, and it's not the course, it's the faculty, will decide how they are delivering the course content. So for example, when I say the faculty versus the course, there might be a course called Communications 1100, which has 20 different sections and 7 different faculty teaching those sections. Well, one faculty might decide that their midterm will be an open book exam, but another faculty might decide that theirs is a virtual online exam. So the answer is that it varies depending on the faculty. But in most cases, it's often an open book or a take-home assignment or exam. And in some cases, it's a virtual exam, which you have to log in. But it depends on the faculty.
Perfect. Thank you.
Can I also add something to the topic?
Of course, Rian.
So there has been an increase in our faculty, among our faculty, in terms of the cases of academic integrity. So there has been a lot of students either not using the reference correctly, or there's a case that a lot of cases that the instructors are finding students are talking to each other when they're taking tests. Sometimes I know it's not easy to know what is cheating or what is acceptable. If you're not sure, look up. There is a really good video with our writing center. Make sure you know what is acceptable, what is not. It's very cultural related, it's very institutional related, so it's important for you to know what you can do, what you cannot do. If you're not sure, make sure you always either not do what you want to do, or if it's reference, make sure you always cite the sources. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you, Rian. Next is another immigration-related question. Will it be okay to work more than 20 hours when the fall semester starts if you're a frontline worker, for example, a social worker? So I can answer this one. The current approvals allowing international students to work full-time as frontline workers, that ends on August 31st. So unless IRCC releases a new update, you will not be working full-time once we get to September 1st. But if IRCC changes that, of course, we'll be happy to share those updates with all students. Okay, I have a good one here. It's just come in. As an MBA student, can you also enroll for social work program? So this would be a question for admissions and SOBI, if you want to take turns.
Is Tracy Barth still on the call?
No, I don't see Tracy. So maybe I can.
I do see her. It says Tracy's iPad. I believe that's her.
Oh, maybe she's here.
Yes.
While we wait, I can answer that from an immigration perspective, because that's the other part of the question. There's nothing stopping you from enrolling in 2 programs, as long as you're meeting your study permit compliance requirements. So if you're in the MBA and you're enrolled in your 6 credits a semester and you're not taking scheduled breaks, that can be used to qualify for the post-graduation work permit. So there's nothing wrong with you adding on an online program. However, as far as I know, the MBA program is pretty intensive, so you might want to really maybe check with an advisor to make sure that you're going to be able to take both programs at the same time. But from an immigration perspective, there should be no problems as long as you're maintaining a full-time status through the MBA program.
It's pretty difficult to do two programs like that. And for the most part, when you're crossing lines from undergraduate to graduate, it makes it very difficult too. So typically the graduate programs want you to stay in those graduate programs until you complete it, because it is considered full-time study. Does that make sense?
Yes,
Yeah.
that makes sense. So actually that ties in nicely, Tracy. Thanks for adding that, because taking two full-time programs can be it can be stressful. And I think a best case scenario for a lot of students is you're enrolled in one full-time program and maybe the second program is part-time. But yeah, two full-time programs can be fairly hectic. So again, check with your advisors to make sure that everything is in line and that you can be successful in the end. Next question. What happens if faculty or the program, my program, requires me to be on campus and I don't feel safe coming for the fall semester? What's the solution? So maybe I'll get Jitender to answer from an immigration perspective, and then I can get Tracy or Lucas to answer from the admissions side. Go ahead, Jitender.
I'm sorry, I did not understand the question exactly.
This is a student who's asking if they're in a program where they're being told it's going to be delivered face-to-face. So that requires them to be on campus, but they don't feel safe coming to Canada in the fall semester. Are there any implications for them on the immigration side?
Oh, okay. So yes, in case your program requires you to be on campus to pursue your program, and if you don't feel safe coming to Canada at this point of time, so that would mean that you might have to take a break from your program for that particular semester, and that in turn could impact your ability to apply for your postgraduate work permit later on.
Perfect. And what about from the admission side? Are there any issues?
Well, sometimes it might be the full program and sometimes it might be just a course. So we're just putting together a list of those students who are registered in those programs, and then eventually the particular courses, because there's courses in fine arts, there's courses as a part of the science program that has labs where you'll be required to be in campus. If it's just a course, you may want to replan your program so that you don't have to be here, or plan your courses for that semester. If it is your actual program and you're going to step away, keep in mind you might end up having to defer that program a whole year. So if it's something like wastewater, you may have to wait and apply for next fall. So those are sort of the implications you might want to look at if your programs are part of the ones that are being delivered on campus. We will be reaching out to you real soon if you are in that category, and let you know, and also provide you with what you'd need to come back into Canada as far as a letter that will state that you're required to be here to take your program.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Tracy. The next question is co-op related. Will we be able to get into co-op post-winter semester provided all requirements are met? So I wish we don't have anybody from the co-op department here, but I'll take a stab at this and say that I know that there are co-op placements happening even during the summer right now, and there are students who are preparing to go into co-op in the fall. So until or unless the co-op team advises otherwise, at this point in time, students are still able to get into the co-op program. And, summer's still far away. A lot could change between now and then, but the co-op program is still running. So if you're in the program, you will be advised accordingly. Of course, there's a mandatory course that you all have to take. So during that process of taking the course and meeting your requirements, you will be advised as to whether the program will run next summer. Okay. All right, so student has clarified again here. So even if I'm in Canada and I don't want to come to the university as it's not safe, but the faculty want you to come to the university, so what is the situation? What is the solution? So for you, I'm going to say that maybe connect with your academic advisor, or connect with the admissions teams. We'll provide some information at the bottom there in the chat on how to contact both, and they will advise you accordingly. I'm not in a position to provide a definite answer, but I can say that there's always an opportunity to plan you in courses maybe that don't require you to be on campus for the fall semester. Tracy, did you want to add anything to that?
Well, again, if you're in those courses, if you're in a chemistry lab, it's required. So again, you may just need to just change your course schedule for this semester and defer those courses. As far as being safe, please know that the university is doing everything possible to keep everyone safe on campus, following all the protocols. And it's not just TRU-wide, it's institution-wide across Canada, following the same protocols. So I think that if you are being asked to come back to campus to take up part of your program or whatever it may be, that you will be safe.
And if I can just jump in, the provost of the university has approved certain programs and certain courses to be face-to-face. So if the question is out of that scope, for example, a faculty in a non-approved course is recommending people come to campus, that shouldn't happen. But if the question is specifically related to the fact that a course was approved to be on campus and face-to-face, then you have to attend. So, but if it is a case where the instructor is asking people if they want to come to campus and it's a different course, that shouldn't be happening. But if it does, maybe you can report it to your ISA or advisor and get clarification.
Thank you, Lucas. Next question is, how many days is one required to be in Canada in order to gain a work permit? So maybe I'll take this one. That depends. So when international students come to Canada, typically they'll get the authorization to work issued with their study permit. And if that is not the case, then we would help them to either apply for a new study permit with those conditions or get the one they have amended so that they're able to work. That is for the off-campus work. But if you're talking about post-graduation work permit eligibility, that has to do with the length of your program, right? So one of the requirements is that you're attending a designated learning institution, which TRU is. You're enrolled in a program that is 8 months or longer, and that you maintain full-time status throughout. So if I'm in a program that is less than 2 years, then my postgrad work permit will be the length of my program to a maximum of 2 years. If I'm in a program that is 2 years or longer, then I may be eligible for a 3-year work permit. So yeah, there's two ways to look at that question. I hope I answered both sides of it. There's a follow-up question. I'm thinking this is from a previous one. can TRU guarantee that if I come to the university, I won't get COVID? Lucas?
Wow. Can we all have
Everybody in
this
a tough spot
guarantee,
there.
please?
No, well, of course, no. TRU and nobody can guarantee that such a thing. So it really comes down to your comfort level. If you're in a program that requires face-to-face, but you're feeling uncomfortable, then you might have to reconsider which courses that you'd like to take or which program you'd like to take. But exactly for that reason, the majority of the programs are not being delivered face-to-face, just to in order to keep everybody safe and to reduce there being any chances of COVID. However, the university has determined that some courses just can't be delivered effectively through distance, and then there has to be hands-on components. So no, there's no way the institution will be able to guarantee that someone would or would not be able to get COVID. Not to mention you could get it from other ways, even just traveling here potentially.
Yeah, and I think that's a good point, and Lucas and Tracy have both touched on this. We've been working from home now for about 4 months, and for you students, you've not been on campus for 4 months, and we will not return to campus until all the necessary steps have been taken to ensure, to the best of the institution's ability, that our safety concerns are addressed. And I don't think the university will purposefully put anybody in harm's way. So, it's all measured steps towards getting us back to what will be a new normal, and what that normal will look like. We will find out over the coming months, but that's one of the reasons why, not all courses are being delivered on campus. Majority of courses are still being delivered virtually. And all the services that you were receiving on campus, we're delivering those virtually, and that one of the reasons is it's all safety and health come first. And so yes, while we can't guarantee that you will not get COVID, either on your way to Canada or once you get here, you should be assured that the institution is doing everything possibly can to mitigate that risk for everyone. Okay.
I can also add that in case you're very concerned that about the COVID, then yes, and you are required to come on campus, you might decide to take that semester off. And then when you apply for your postgraduate work permit, you might want to include a letter of explanation that because of the COVID concerns, you had to take a semester off, as the other as the virtual courses were not available during that time. So that might possibly mean that you might get your work permit, but again, but then you would be taking a chance on that. Thank you.
Thank you, Jitender. The last question I have here: what happens after a third time approval in a course? So maybe I'll get Lolina and Rianne or Brianna to chime in. Thank you.
Okay, so I'm not sure I understand the question. What happens after a third time approval? So third time approval, students request a third time approval and need to request that if you have failed a course that you need for your program, you have taken it twice before and you have failed it, or maybe you've gotten a D and you need at least a C or a C+. So what happens is that you need to request a third time approval in order to take the course for a third time. And that request needs to come from the student to the chair of the department of the course that you need to take. So for example, if you need to take Economics 1900 for a third time, you would need to email the chair of economics, and we can provide you with a form that is a third time approval form, which you would send to the chair. And one thing that would be important for you to do when you're requesting third time approval is to tell the chairperson how you figure that you will be successful this time around. So you can't just say, just give me the approval because I failed the course twice and I need to take it again. You need to say, I had these difficulties before, but now this situation has changed, and so now I am confident that I will be able to do better because I have a tutor, or my housing situation has changed, so I don't have roommates that party all night, or whatever the case may be. You need to make a case for yourself that you will be successful the third time around. If you mean that you have taken the course for a third time and you have still failed it, then that would be a discussion either with us as your academic advisors if you're in first or second year, or with your program advisor if you are in third or fourth year. Because we have seen that the chair of certain departments will not allow students to take a course for the fourth time. So I'm not sure if that's what you meant by what happens after a third time approval in a course, but yeah, that would be a conversation with either the academic advisors, so myself and my colleagues, or with your program advisors like Rianne and her colleagues. Okay.
All right, thanks, Olena. Rianne, Brianna, do you have anything to add to that?
No, I don't think so. The only specific case for third time approval is if you need a third time approval for international business courses. We are the ones that has to contact the chairperson in behalf of you. For any other SOBI classes, you can contact the chairperson yourself, but for international business courses, we will have to talk to the chair in behalf of you. That's all. Thanks.
And marketing.
Oh, sorry. Our faculty just recently there's a reorganization. So yes, international business is fine now because it belongs to a different department, but only marketing classes, they're the ones, if you need a third time approval, we are the one has to contact the chairperson for you.
Perfect.
But very recent change. Sorry about that.
No, thank you. Thank you. That was good. I have a question here for the admissions team. So how can a student confirm that their tuition has been deposited? And also they're asking what would they need to do to be able to register because they're not able to do that at the moment.
Okay, it all depends on how you paid. We sent out, when we sent out the registration reminder, we asked that all students pay through Pay My Tuition, because that is the fastest, most efficient way to get the money to your account. What happens is we can even track if you started the payment process. If you do it by traditional wire transfer, you're waiting the several days for it to flow through the bank. And then it's a manual add to your account. So that does take a few more days. So it just depends how you paid. You'll be able to track if your payment has been made through your MyTRU. So please check there. If your payment's made, it may be that you haven't completed enough academic credits to be able to register online, because the system looks at two things. It looks at whether you've got your deposit paid and that you meet the criteria for having 12 academic credits to be able to register online yourself. If you haven't got those 12 credits, then you'll email ireg@tru.ca and they will help you register.
Awesome. Thank you, Tracy. So I don't see any additional questions for now. We'll give one more minute. Maybe if you have any last minute questions, please type them in the chat box. Otherwise, you know, I'd like to say thank you to everyone who's joined us today, whether you're in Kamloops, whether you're joining us from around Canada or around the world. We appreciate you taking time off your day to be with us. I think this was important. Some of the questions that you're asking are actually giving us some good ideas for a next session. So again, we want to thank you, and I want to, thank my colleagues as well. Thanks for making time this morning to, to be of service to the students. This is good. It's not, really missing the face-to-face interaction. So this is the best we can do for now, and I do really appreciate your time and efforts as well. Okay, so look like we have. See, looks like somebody's just typed in something.
I'll jump in, but there's been a lot of questions about fees and deposits. Maybe I'll just answer a couple of them.
Yes.
There's one that just says, will we get an email from TRU if there are fees due for our account? The answer is yes. So a couple of different types of communications come out related to fees. The International Admissions Department notifies students in advance about deposits that are coming up, when the deadlines are, so on and so forth. But if you have outstanding fees, once the school year has started, it'll be the finance department that will send you a notification saying you have outstanding fees. So you will get notified, and we will be sending out reminders prior to that date. So students should definitely know when deadlines are due. So that answers that question. There was also questions earlier about winter semester. I think it's important to understand that, and I think Marnie mentioned it in her video, and so did others, that for winter semester, as long as you have paid your deposit for fall, you're eligible to register for winter at the same time. And so you don't have to pay for your winter fees right now. The deposit, which is not the full tuition, but the deposit for your winter fees are due December 1st. So you could be registered today and not pay your deposit until the end of November or beginning of December 1st. If you haven't registered at all, then there isn't a deposit deadline. It's just after December 1st, if you want to register, you have to pay your deposit. So those are two different questions I saw related to finances. Any other?
No, there's one more question here. This is going to be our last question for today. Will we get mail from TRU accounts if the fees are due? So I guess student is asking, will they be notified if fees are due on their account?
Yes, that's just kind of what I answered. So if it's past the deadline, like after September 4th, the finance department will run reports of students who owe fees, and sometime in usually late September or middle of September, they'll notify you saying, we notice you still have fees owing, and basically remind you that you have some time to rectify your account, balance your account. So you will get a notification sometime in September if you owe fees. And we will send out reminders prior to that, that don't forget about deadlines, so on and so forth.
Great. Thank you, Lucas. And thanks again, students. Thank you, colleagues, for joining us today. We'll have another session this evening, so we get to do this again. If you feel that you have additional questions that were maybe not answered, please join us this evening. Otherwise, for now, we'll sign off. You all have yourselves a lovely day. Thank you very much. Lucas, I'm going to give this one to you. I registered for courses without informing international admissions by mistake. I didn't know I had to do that. Is that okay? I was also told to register on my own by iReg, even though I just finished my first semester.
So the question is that they registered, sorry, am I muted here?
Yeah, no worries.
The question is that they registered by mistake?
Yes, they registered themselves by mistake, and they just wanting to confirm that everything is okay.
Okay, well, if you register by mistake, are you wanting to unregister? You can deregister yourself as well. If you want to check your registration, you just go to your MyTRU. If you have more than 12 credits at TRU, you can self-register. And so the iReg team has just, they're quite busy right now. And at the same time, we're encouraging students to come up with their own schedule. So it's not that we couldn't help you or that team wouldn't be able to help you. It's just there are so many students who are registering. And if you're able to self-register, we encourage students to do so. But you can change your registration yourself. You can deregister, and you can check your registration in your MyTRU account.
Perfect. Thank you, Lucas. Second question. Hello, I'm an international student and I'm about to finish my GDBA. Now I'm facing financial problems due to COVID-19. I contacted financial aid department and my advisors, and as far as I understood, I can only apply for a limited number of financial aid because most of the awards are for domestic students. So my chance of getting awards is really low. I want to know if I should continue to the MBA or drop out. Thank you for your help. So I will answer part of this, and then I will we'll pass it on to Lucas and maybe to Rian. So the GDBA is part of the MBA program. It's the first part, and typically students will take 1 or 2 semesters of the GDBA and then transition to the MBA. The GDBA on its own is it can be a standalone program. So if you exit before completing the second part of the MBA, then you will be eligible for a shorter work permit, anywhere from 8 months to 12 months. So that is the downside if you drop out at this time. But other than that, I mean, maybe Rian, do you want to jump in and give a perspective of advantages or not of completing the MBA as opposed to just stepping out of the GDBA?
Unfortunately, I can't really speak to it because I only take care of the undergrad part of the SOBI programs, but I definitely recommend the students to reach out to the graduate level advisors, coordinators themselves. Sorry.
Yeah, no worries. So yeah, so the student who asked this question, I'd say maybe you want to connect with the ISA. We want to know what else is going on. We might be able to assist. Just because you've tried once in the financial aid office, maybe the response was not favorable. They might just need additional information, and we would be able to help with that. You know, you came all this way, and we'd like to help you if possible to complete your journey. So get in touch with an international student advisor, and we'll see what options are available to help your case. Okay.
And I will post the email address of the graduate advisors on the chat page, so everybody can get in touch with the advisors too.
Perfect. All right, Stefan, next question is for you. Since the fall semester is going to be online, can students be allowed to work more than 20 hours a week?
A very straightforward answer is no. Fall semester is a regular semester, is not considered a scheduled break. The only time that students are allowed to work full-time during their studies is the semester that is a scheduled break within your program. So most likely it is the summer semester. So let's say if you're in an undergrad program or post-bac and you're full-time in the winter semester and you're going to be full-time in the fall semester, then summer you don't have to take any courses, and this is the only time that you get to work full-time. Because of the COVID-19, if our international students are working in essential services, then IRCC has temporarily allowed to do the more than 20 hours. But in the fall, if you are registered face-to-face courses, even though the courses are moved to deliver virtually, you get to work part-time. It's up to 20 hours per week. That's it. So, and please be careful. The 20 hours per week is 20 hours per week. If you work 5 hours this week, it doesn't mean you can add the balance to the next week. So it's strictly 20 hours. And the condition is that you need to be a full-time student, that you registered the face-to-face courses that is moved online or delivered in alternate methods, however you call it. Virtual delivery, it's basically online. but just because it's online, it doesn't mean you get to work more than 20 hours per week. So hope that answered the question.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Stefan. Before I go on to the next question, I just want to remind everyone, students, please don't ask very personal questions in this chat. This is supposed to be us giving you answers to general questions that you may have. If you have a specific question, either reach out to your ISA and we'll connect you with an appropriate resource, or reach out to your academic advisors, or reach out to the admissions office for some answers. So we'll skip anything that looks like it's a really personal question, but in the chat we'll let you know who you can reach out to for assistance. Okay. The next question, student is asking, if I get COVID-19, will MSP cover that? So I can take that question. The answer is yes. Once you transition from private insurance, GuardMe, to MSP, majority of illnesses that could befall you are covered by MSP, and what is not covered by MSP typically will be covered by the extended health and dental insurance plan, which you should have if you're a full-time student. Next question, and this one is for this is a tricky one. Rian, I'll give you this one. If I change my program from MBA to early childhood education, is it okay? I mean, will I have any problems with low grading or something else? It's a tricky one.
I can also comment if Rian doesn't.
Sure.
Okay, so this is from me working in the general advising long time ago. I should say 3 years ago, so it's not that long ago. But anyway, set that aside. Early childhood education is only they only have an intake once a year.
Yeah.
So if you miss the intake, you may have to wait for another year. So that's a big decision factor that you have to consider. The other thing I would comment, I can't comment too much again about our graduate level programs, but I do want to say that yes, you can change your programs. We are not going to make you stay in a program that you don't want to finish. It is your decision to change your program. And if you want to, maybe you want to take a break from your program, you want to, try something different, get in touch with our graduate level program advisor to seek your options. I'm just gonna end there.
And I'll add to that, yes, as Rian said, TRU is interested in your success. So if you're in a program where you're feeling that it's not suited to you or you're not doing well, number one, speak to your program advisor, whatever program that is. And it might be that you're struggling because of the course selections. It might be that the course content in the program is no longer of interest. And you want to find out what options work for you. As far as the specific question to ECE, right now I know for a fact that all of the available seats are spoken for, but the next intake is not until January. So things could change between now and then.
Awesome. Thank you, Lucas. And I'll stick with you for the next question. Okay. Student is asking if they're able to get their credentials if they're not in Canada.
So I think you're referring to the credentials that you submitted as an official document to TRU, and now you're trying to get your credentials back? Or is this about your graduated credentials? You finished at TRU, you've graduated, and you want your credential?
Yeah, I think the way I read it is they're asking if they're able to get their credentials mailed to them if they're not in Canada.
I guess my question is TRU credentials, right? They've graduated?
Yes.
Anyways, the answer is yes.
Yes, correct.
So you would have to provide us with your updated address. There's been a number of communications going out to international students who have graduated asking you to provide your updated address. And if you're an international student living out of country, we will courier it to you. The difference is that we can only courier your credential, not the graduation package, which includes a few other items.
Thank you, Lucas. Stefan, next one is for you. Is a 2-year diploma course eligible for a post-graduation work permit in Canada?
Yes, 2-year diploma. If you take it in TRU, which is a designated learning institution, and you study in Canada for 2 years, you are eligible for a 3-year work permit. However, because of the COVID-19 and the travel restrictions, if you're not able to travel to Canada, but you do have a study permit and you are studying online for the fall semester, this time is not going to be deducted from your validity of the postgrad work permit. So you may still be eligible, you may still be able to get the 3-year work permit, provided you are not in violation of any other conditions of the study permit.
Great. I have another question that's for you, Stefan.
Okay.
If a student takes the fall semester off, are they allowed to work full-time?
No, absolutely not. Don't do it. If you take a semester off, it may even also be impacting your post-graduation work permit eligibility. IRCC has very limited reasons to allow students to skip a regular semester. In TRU, regular semester is fall and the winter semester. If you want to skip fall semester, you better have a very strong reason, a solid reason that you can build a strong case when it comes to applying for post-graduation work permit. You can convince the immigration officers, yes, you skip a semester, that is in violation of your study permit, the eligibility requirements for postgrad work permit, but it is something beyond your control. You had to do it. And then you leave it up to the immigration officer to decide, yes, I'm convinced, it's a good reason, you still get your postgrad work permit, or no, I don't think so, because it's for your cousin's wedding or something, then you're not eligible to apply for postgrad work permit. So for whatever reason, if you're skipping the semester, you are not eligible to work at all, so don't do it.
Perfect. Thank you. The next question for you, Lucas. I want to ask whether the winter semester will be delivered online or face-to-face.
Yeah, so it's not our decision, but the institution has indicated that right now we don't have a confirmation about January, but there is some evidence that we will be delivering virtually or in an alternative format, but at this point, no decision has been made.
Thank you. And a follow-up question to that, how will the online classes work in the fall semester with regards to attendance, grades, final exams, and assignments?
So I'm not the expert on this, but each faculty will indicate to you how they're planning to deliver the program. When you go to face-to-face course normally, when you start your class, there's a course syllabus outlining the way the instructor is going to evaluate you, what kind of assignments you'll have. It's similar in the sense that it's virtual. Your instructor will outline and lay out for you whether or not there's attendance involved, how they're going to deliver the program, whether it's synchronously, asynchronously, or polysynchronously, so a combination of synchronous and asynchronous. Your grades and your participation, if they've outlined it as being important, which they probably will in a virtual format, will be laid out for you at the beginning of the course.
I can also comment on those classes for School of Business and Economics. Again, the expectation is that you join the class or you attend or participate in any expected online discussion, lecture, or any assignments as normal face-to-face class. Typically, the expectation is given to you at the end, at the beginning of the semester, not the end. That would be a disaster. But yes, typically the first class of each semester, you attend the class and the instructor will let you know what their expectations are. And believe me, if there is an online live discussions, if you start daydream, they can tell. Just like when you're sitting in classroom, you start to, your mind start to wander off, you start thinking other things, you don't think your instructor knows, they know. So be sure to be engaged, and make sure you treat any classes like face-to-face. Thank you.
Perfect.
Can I just add
Leanne,
something?
thank you,
Megan?
Lucas.
Sorry, can I add something?
Yes, sure,
Yeah,
Keisha. Go ahead. Sorry.
No worries. I just wanted to reiterate that it really is important when you're making your course schedule that you keep in mind that you may need to be at your computer at a specific time. And some instructors are letting students know ahead of time, but the instructors do have up until the first week of classes to let everybody know. So don't just assume this class probably won't be synchronous. Have the assumption in your mind that there very well may be some synchronous classes. So if you're not in Canada and you're at a different time zone, make sure you're choosing something that's a time that can work for you, and that really is important for the fall semester.
Thank you, Rianne, Lucas, and Keisha, for that very detailed response. The next question is for Stefan. The whole MEd program is 5 semesters long. After graduation, how many years, what length of a post-graduation work permit is a student from that program eligible for?
Okay, for master's program, IRCC has the special rule for you. If your program is 16 months up to 23 months, and you studied that length of time, you are eligible for post-graduation work permit for 3 years. So if the MEd, from what I understand, MEd is officially a 16-month program. Some students will take a thesis, which takes much longer than the 16 months. So the short answer, if you studied all this time and you have been a full-time student, you have been in violation of any conditions of your study permit, you didn't skip any semester, being part-time and all that, then you're eligible for a 3-year work permit, post-graduation work permit.
Perfect. Thank you. Next question. Does online delivery of courses hamper the quality? Did TRU offer training to their professors in order to deliver the courses online? I'll take a stab at this one, and then any of my colleagues can jump in. When we switched from the winter semester, from the face-to-face to online, it was a very drastic change, and admittedly, there are instructors who might have never taught an online class before. So I think it was a learning process, not only for you, getting to adapt to a new style of learning that maybe you're not used to, it's not your preference. And same thing for instructors, they were likely struggling. How are they going to finish the semester while delivering the same quality of education that you deserve, that you are accustomed to? Fast forward to the summer semester, and even for orientation, we're having to switch things around. So I've been working with some of my colleagues over the summer to create a Moodle course, and that is how we'll deliver our orientation material to students across the world. And I was very surprised that in my cohort there were over 100 instructors. This was a month-long course, And it was really cool to see how instructors were genuinely interested in making your experience for the fall semester better than it was before, right? It's new for everybody, and we do understand that there's a lot of anxiety around the quality of education, but I'd like to assure you that the quality of education you're getting is the same. It's the same instructors teaching you. It's the same material they're teaching you. They're just going to deliver it differently. And through the summer, they've been working on and learning different ways of presenting the material. So, I anticipate that your experience in the fall semester will be top quality. Okay. Anybody else want to jump in?
I'd like to jump in, can I?
Yes,
sorry,
please.
Sorry. Yeah, I was going to say that the reality is we all understand online learning is different than classroom learning. We just have to accept that things are pretty different right now. However, what I was going to say is we have an open learning department here at TRU, and they are experts at making online courses, delivery and development. And they have been working around the clock with the faculty to help change the campus courses to this new alternate delivery. And I've taken a couple of courses that should have been campus courses and are now online, and they are really, really great. What I am going to say is, if there's something that you feel you would really benefit from taking in the classroom, talk to your academic advisor or your program advisor to see if you can switch courses around a little bit and take something else right now, so that maybe later when we do return to the classroom, that course that you really wanted the in-classroom experience for, you could do in the classroom. Thank you.
Thank you, Keisha. Next is a registration-related questions. I'm going to pass this on to Lucas. How much time do we have to register for a new program? And why are there no discounts on tuition?
Okay, so the question's a bit tricky. So the first one is, when is the deadline to register for a new program? It depends, I suppose. If you're registering for an open access program where you can register at the last moment, then there isn't really a deadline as long as you registered in time to start your classes. But there are select entry and competitive programs where the deadline is long past. So I'm not sure if you mean like you're applying for a new program or if you mean registering for courses. Let me assume you're actually wanting to talk about courses. Again, the deadline for what we call normal registration is September 4th. Normal registration is the period where wait lists are running and you can add your name to a wait list. Whereas after September 4th, if there was a course you wanted to be in and it was full, you could no longer add your name to a wait list. However, after September 4th, anybody who was on the wait list the wait list keeps operating and their name will eventually potentially drop down to be having a spot. So the deadline to register under normal registration is September 4th. However, up until September 22nd is the add drop period, which you can add yourself to another class that has an available spot or deregister yourself from a class that you no longer want. And then, so that's kind of the deadline, I would say, in that sense. One more thing though about that is adding your name to a class that has a spot on the very last day of add drop doesn't guarantee that the instructor, that you haven't missed a lot of material. So normally we don't encourage students to join a class for the very first time on the last day of the add drop period because you have now missed 2 weeks of school, for example. So just keep that in mind, that even though technically it's possible, it may not be that the faculty will permit it or that you've missed a lot of material and now you've put made it difficult on yourself to be successful after missing 2 weeks of school. Now, the other one about tuition, we don't have any say really in the tuition. I mean, the university does decide what changes there will be, if anything. But there is no change in tuition. My understanding from the university is that it is costing the university just as much money to operate virtually as it does to operate face-to-face. And that would probably be the only explanation I can really give to explain why there isn't a change in tuition.
Thank you, Lucas. The next question is for Stefan. If fall 2020 will be my last semester at TRU, when can I apply for work permit? Do I have to wait until I complete my degree, or can I apply during the fall semester? This is an MBA student asking.
Okay, a quick question is for anyone who wants to apply for post-graduation work permit, you have to wait until you are confirmed graduated. And that's the reason why this work permit is called a post-graduation work permit. You have to do it after you are confirmed that you graduated. So if your fall semester, your fall semester is the last semester, I don't know how the instructors will deliver, you have paper or do you have a final exam. You need to wait for all your grades to come in, for your faculty to approve your graduation, and then send to registrar's office to approve that finally you graduated, and then enter this into the system. Now you're officially graduated. Previous years, this year, I'm not sure how it's going to play out, but the previous years, usually if fall is your last semester, you can get approved graduation in January. So because of the Christmas break, the courses and all this stuff and all that's happening, January first couple of weeks is you are more likely to be approved to graduate. But you can start the process before that. Let's say your last exam is on December 8th, right? So after that, you have no schoolwork, no assignment, you're done. You can start your post-graduation work permit application process, which means you set up your MyCIC account, answer the questionnaire in it, fill in the application form, prepare all the documents, and wait for the last two very critical documents. One is your transcript, one is the letter from the institution confirming you have graduated. So these two are the very important documents that you will need to apply for postgrad work permit. You could prepare all the other documents ahead of time, but you wait for these two documents. And once you get them, you upload them and you can submit your application. So the short answer to the question is yes, you have to wait until you are confirmed graduated to submit your post-graduation work permit application.
Perfect. Thank you, Stefan. The next question, I'll let Lucas and Keisha chime in if they can. If I'm not in Canada and my time zone is way different than that of Kamloops, for example, 10 hours ahead, will the fall semesters be mandatory to attend even if the lecture time is at night?
Answer is yes. So yeah, it's really important that you consider the timeline and time zone, because we have to assume that the faculty will be delivering either part of the course or all of the course synchronously. So if you have a significant time zone difference, you'll definitely want to choose a time that isn't going to make it impossible for you to attend. So each person has got a different availability, whether that's evening time or morning time, but you would definitely want to choose something where theoretically you can attend. Yes, in the end, if some of the course is not being delivered synchronously and you can do it in a different time, great. But you need to assume that technically you have to attend. So choose a time zone or a time session time that works for you in your time zone. So for someone who's a 10-hour difference, that might mean choose an early morning class in Canada so that it works out to be evening time, or choose an evening class so it turns out to be morning. So it's important to keep that in mind.
Thank you, Lucas. The next question is with, I think I'll keep this one with, let me see, Lucas again. If you are waitlisted, how long should you wait before considering a different option?
Yeah. So there are a few important factors to consider about wait lists and how fast a wait list will change, move is what I should say. So number one, how popular is that class? The more popular it is, the less likely students ahead of you will deregister. Another factor is what's the size of class capacity? A larger class will have more students in it, which means that more students may consider deregistering. A smaller class will have less students likely to deregister. So that's important. The other is where your position is. If you're number 2 in a class or you're number 10, obviously number 2 is going to get to the class faster than someone at number 10 or 15, for example. So there's no real specific answer. Those 3 factors all play a part in how likely you would get into the class and how long you have to wait. Keep in mind that sometimes you'll never get in the class. So my recommendation is if you're seeing that the change is not happening, it's taking weeks, and so far your class number has barely changed at all, I highly recommend you choose a different section or a different course. The other thing is that even without being on the wait list, we always recommend you take a guaranteed spot versus a risked hedging your bet spot. So you could work with your program advisor and they might have some tips on how likely you're going to get into that class. But I always go with a sure bet versus a long shot. That would be my advice. And one more thing about wait lists is don't forget a couple of things. Number one, the wait list right now would run at a 48-hour notification. And as we get closer to the start of the semester and into the semester, it becomes a 24-hour notification. That means that in the 48-hour period, if you're in the wait list and you're next, you will get an email saying, not that you're in the class, it reminds you that you have an option to choose that class. You have to take action at that point. It's not automatic. And you either have to go in and self-register or notify the international admissions that you'd like to get in that class. And if you don't do it within 48 hours, your spot is gone. So keep in mind, you do have to check your emails if you're on a wait list. And when it gets to 24 hours, it's all the more reason why you got to check like twice a day and take action. So it's not automatic.
I also wanted to add something related to that topic. Our faculty is currently reviewing all the classes we may have to cancel. So it is very important for you students to get yourself registered into those classes you really need. So yes, if you know somebody who hasn't registered, or if you yourself have not registered in all those classes you need, make sure you do it this week, because we will start canceling classes. Thank you. Sorry, don't mean to make things scary, but make sure you do that.
Yes, and as Keisha just added in the chat there, register early, so get it done quickly. The next question, a student is asking, or they're saying, they heard from another student that they can only graduate either in June or October for the MEd program. Is that true? The answer to that is no, that is not true. So June and October is when TRU holds its convocation ceremonies, but that is a convocation ceremony. You graduate from your program whenever you finish. So some students graduate in December, some students graduate in April, some students graduate sometime in the summer. So it's two different processes. You graduate and then you convocate. That's the ceremony where you go and you receive your credential on stage. How do I schedule an online meeting with a student advisor? Can I please get a link? So I think that link has just been shared. So we'll leave that one. Keisha, this one's for you. Can I take courses without doing prerequisites? Waiting for prerequisites will extend my study by 8 months. what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, prerequisites are there for a reason. They're there for your success. We're not just trying to hold people back from courses. There are some occasions where something you have in your background experience may allow you to have a prerequisite waive. That's very rare, and that's case by case and requires a conversation. So you need to talk to your advisors, and then we'll see if that's something you can pursue. But in general, prerequisites need to be taken. They're there to help you be successful.
Thank you.
Can I add one more thing? Sorry.
Sorry, go ahead.
Ruben. I just
No,
wanted to, the question before about the online meetings, I know they were potentially talking about international student advisors. Just wanted to let everyone know academic advising can do virtual meetings as well. So we do phone appointments, we can answer your emails, but we can also book a Zoom meeting or something like that. So if you want to talk to an academic advisor, that's an option. Just email advising@tru.ca and we can book that for you.
Great, Keisha, and the link has just been posted in the chat, so you can copy it from there. I am just looking through the questions, and I don't think we have any new questions. So we will give you one last opportunity, students. If you have any questions that you can think of, please drop them in the chat.
Can I drop in? Can I jump
yes,
in? I'm sharing a web link to you. This is where we have the ISA on the go. You can reach us, the ISA on the go or Racia on the go. We can meet you virtually, just like this, in a Teams meeting, not a Zoom, but we can see you online. You can see us. We can see you. You can just drop in and yeah, thank you, Alex. Yes, so you can drop in and all you need is click on the link, and you may have to download this app, or you can sign in as a guest. You don't even have to download it, and you can come to see us, and if you have a quick question. So the ISA on the go and Racia on the go are set up for our students who are seeking quick answers. Not quick questions, but quick answers. And you don't have to wait for us to email you back. These days, every single one of us, including academic advisors, program advisors, all the ISAs, all the RACIAs, we're all overwhelmed with all the emails that we receive on a daily basis. So we have to answer them in the order they came in, which means sometimes for a very simple question, you may have to wait for days. And this is an opportunity for you to see us, drop by, and if your question just needs a quick answer, then you don't have to wait. So this is a convenient for the convenience that we provide to our students. The ISA on the go, you can answer you can ask questions, anything other than your course related, registration related, because those are the expertise and the knowledge within the team of academic advising and program advising. So everything else you can ask us, or if you don't know who you can go to, you can ask us, we'll find out and help you. The Racia on the go is for students who have study permit, work permit related questions. Again, these are for quick answers as well. So if you come to see us and say, well, tell me how I can immigrate to Canada, that is like a 6-month question. We won't be able to answer that. But other than that, some of the questions we got tonight will be answered quickly.
Great. Thank you, Stefan. I have another question for you, actually. Okay. The post-graduation work permit is issued to students who've completed majority of their courses face-to-face. So the student is asking, what will happen if the winter semester is online, and for him it will put him over the 50% threshold for online courses. Will it
Okay.
affect his post-graduation work permit eligibility?
Okay. So the answer to that question is I don't know. Right now, the IRCC gave us the instruction is that if you study virtually online for fall semester, this time is not going to be deducted from your post-graduation work permit validity, which means you can still stay valid. And this rule only goes to the end of December. So it is a good thing that we don't know. It depends on how this COVID-19 whole situation evolves. If by any chance, you know, they got the vaccine and this thing is totally under control and all the travel restrictions are lifted, everybody can come back to Canada, then winter semester you will have to be here. But if things get worse, the restrictions getting worse, nobody goes in, nobody goes out, by then the IRCC is going to give new instructions of what to do. At this point, we don't know yet. And it is a good thing that we don't know yet because it is not an absolute no. It doesn't mean if winter semester you have to go online because of the situation, then you won't be eligible. No, it doesn't mean that. It just means at this time, we don't have a definitive answer to this question. It's a very good question. It's valid, and I believe lots of students in Canada, lots of international students in Canada are asking this question. And IRCC will give a clear instruction towards the end of the year. But it depends on how things work.
Thank you, Stefan. I will take the next question. Student was looking for emergency awards provided by TRU, but the applications for summer and fall are not available anymore. What should he or she do about it? Will they be open in future? So the Financial Awards Office, they post applications that are open for a certain amount of time. So for the summer, they've closed, and if you're saying that for fall, they've closed, yes, these applications are not open all year round. So our best advice to you at this time would be to contact the Financial Aid Office. We'll post a link to contact them there. And once you contact them, if there's no follow-up, say within a few days, 3 to 5 days, by the end of the week, please get in touch with your international student advisor and we'll follow up on your behalf. But yes, the applications are not open all year round. Next question. I want to defer the fall semester. Do I have to inform anyone about it? So from an immigration standpoint, I would say that you want to speak with an immigration advisor just to discuss the potential impacts on your post-graduation work permit eligibility and even future study permit applications. You're expected, while on a study permit, to be, attending school every fall and winter semester, and if you're in a graduate program, even the summer semester. So we want to make sure that the reason for you skipping school is something that you'll be able to explain to a visa officer at some point in time. So yes, please come meet with us. We also recommend that you speak with an academic advisor, because if you were scheduled to take some courses in the fall, maybe those courses will not be available until next summer, or they won't be available till next fall again. So you just want to make sure that your break does not impact the remainder of your academic journey. Keisha, do you want to add in anything in there?
Yeah, I was typing it in as you were saying it, exactly that. Especially science students, you know that some courses are only in the fall. When you miss it in the fall, you can't get it until next fall. It's potentially a prerequisite for another course. So it may really affect your program completion. So just have a chat with your advisor before deciding to do something like that.
Great. Thank you very much. So looks like that is all the questions we have for this evening. So I think we'll stop there. I'd like to thank you all, students, for taking time off your evening to be with us. I hope that this was useful. And if there are any additional questions, please reach out to an ISA or academic advising or admissions office. If you don't know where to start, I'm going to suggest you just send an email to isa@tiru.ca and we'll triage your question accordingly. We'll put together these questions and we'll try and answer them and then share them in an email. We had some really good questions this evening. We had some really good questions this morning. And, you know, we do hope that this will, you know, for those of you who are a little bit anxious about the fall semester, that anxiety level will go down a little bit. And that you will, you know, go into the fall semester with great expectations and hope that, you know, your experience will be top notch, right? Because that is what you're here for. And, you know, we've listened to your feedback and we're doing everything possible to make sure that it's smooth sailing onwards. So once again, thank you very much to my colleagues, the panelists. Thank you very much for sharing information and knowledge. I'm sure the students really appreciate it. I see a lot of messages in the chat thanking everybody. So yes, I'm grateful for all of you being here. Maybe we'll have another town hall, who knows? But I guess until next time, we're going to wish you all a good evening. Thanks again for joining us and take care. Please keep in touch. Bye-bye.